Out of all of the firearms Dante has wielded over the years, he came across a ton of rocket launchers. He sure as hell wasn't afraid to pack on some of that explosive heat. Hello, it's the Devil Joe, back again with a brand new video, and today I'm gonna find out which Devil May Cry game has the best rocket launcher by taking a look at the grenade gun from the OG Devil May Cry DMC2's missile launcher, the OG Kalina Ann from Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 4's Pandora, Ladies Kalina Ann in the special edition of Devil May Cry 4, both Kalina Anns in DMC5, judging them based on the following categories. Design, which one looked the best? Moveset, which rocket launcher had the sickest looking moves? Crowd control, which missile launcher handled entire hordes the best? Damage, which bazooka turned demons into a fireworks show? To award the winning RPG with the World Bazooka Championship title. Without further ado, let's jump into this crazy ranking. First up is Devil May Cry's grenade gun, looking like a 1940s grenade launcher. The only thing you can do with this thing is shoot straight. Nothing less, nothing more. However, the damage on this thing is nothing short of bonkers, taking out a ton of health bars. When we're talking about regular ass marionettes, taking them out using a couple of shots, backing away entire legions of them, breaking off their formations, clearing up an entire room, infested with them. Doesn't hurt that it replenishes most of the devil trigger in a blink of an eye. Cracking sin scissors open like they're made from paper thin glass. Even shadow falls to the might of the grenade gun. There's just one problem. That recovery animation be kinda slow. Well, say no more, roll cancels are a thing here. Turning the damn thing into a grenade machine gun. After each shot, be sure to roll, then keep on shooting. Comes in handy when facing Nalo Angelo. On Phantom, he got Alistair and Ifrit to deal with his rocky ass tail. Truth be told, that grenade gun turned out to be much more effective than I expected it to be. Sure, it don't have much moves like at all. It can still blow a ton of devils' heads off, filling up that lost DT gauge instantly. It ain't as effective when it comes to most bosses, except for that feather-faced chicken Griffin. It's the best weapon paired with Alistair or Ifrit in that particular fight. Here comes Devil May Cry 2's military-grade missile launcher, looking like one of them anti-tank bazookas. The one shooting choppers, jets, and well, tanks. This thing fucks everything in terms of damage. You thought the square button with ebony and ivory was the kill everything button. Well, you thought wrong. The missile launcher is the kill absolutely everything button. The delete every single demon off this map button. The literal beat the game button. Once you push that square button, them health bars are there to get decimated, paralyzing any of the enemy's movements, knocking off a huge ass horde of them brain dead plastic AI demons with absolute ease, wiping off everything on and off screen. The only move it has is shooting straight, while airborne Dante carries Ebony to fire off when he's off the ground. So yeah, that missile launcher makes DMC2 into more of a cakewalk than it was to begin with. Heading over to the time young Dante borrowed the Kalina Ann from one vengeful lady in Devil May Cry 3, a unique take on what a rocket launcher looks like, cause of that oversized combat knife as a bayonet at the end. A bayonet! Shit's reserved for rifles most of the time, not rocket launchers, plus them rockets on the back, shooting other missiles. Looks pretty fucking cool for this kind of gun if I'm being honest. Here's what we got for moves. You still get the standard shot blowing many devils to bits and pieces, breaking the fuck out of their formations, making it a sick-ass crowd control tool. Wait, here's more. Switch over to Gunslinger, you get this dope as fuck homing missile attack, known as the Hysteric. Not only does it pull off high-octane fuck-off damage, it can manage a room full of demons, getting a few of them uglies falling to your will at an instant. Not to mention the grappling hook, getting the wacky woohoo pizza man to pull off a "get over here," sending in one demon your way to combo up in whatever way you want. The grappling hook can change up each demon's position on the arena to focus on one devil at a time. Plus it deals some generous damage, melting off a decent chunk of HP off of them. Check this out, it can parry Hell Vanguards. For real, I was not expecting this shit in the slightest. I'd say it's way better than Nero's snatch mechanic in DMC 4 and 5. In my opinion, DMC 3's Kalina Ann is a pretty solid rocket launcher. It's powerful but not too overpowered, and it can manage a few hordes without breaking the entire flow of DMC 3. Then we get by far one of the most bonkers firearms this franchise has ever seen. The motherfucking Pandora! The Swiss Army knife of explosive fuck-off cannons, lasers, big dick energy batarang included. Moveset-wise, this thing is diverse as all hell. The basic square button gets you a standard bowgun, called Epidemic, shooting off standard rockets, knocking a few enemies back, dealing some pretty good damage. While in midair, the suitcase turns into a Gatling gun, known as Jealousy, rapidly shooting a hail of bullets at them devils, dealing some pretty good chip damage. We have the Hatred, a powerful bazooka making demonic hordes scatter away, getting health bars to perform, a disappearing act of a lifetime. Check this out, the damn thing turns into a large fuck-off Lexington steel energy laser, called Revenge, evaporating all demonic adversaries into absolute nothingness. Now that's what I'd call divine vengeance. You know what these 4 moves have in common? They fill the disaster gauge to be used for powerful gunslinger tricks. Starting off with the argument pod. Just look at this thing, it's absolutely ridiculous as fuck. And I'm all in for it. The wacky woohoo pizza man just got into a makeshift flying pod, shooting a shit ton of homing missiles. What sort of LSD was Itsuno on? I want some of that shit ASAP. One push of the square button, you shoot 1 missile at a time, slowly depleting that disaster gauge. Hit the stall button, oh lord, look at the insane barrage of homing missiles, massacring the legions of the underworld. Like it's truly an excellent display of damage and crowd control. Most importantly, unadulterated carnage! Enter Grief, that larger-than-life batarang. It acts a lot like Round Trip, but way better. With a full disaster gauge, it can be thrown across the entire arena, keeping large crowds at bay. Not only that, they'll be sure to mow everything down, clearing the entire room, killing everything off. Then we have the Omen getting Dante to pop that suitcase open, filling devilish dark souls with light! Wiping the demonic race off the earth, sending them back to hell. Let's be honest for a second here. This suitcase is one of the greatest firearms this entire franchise has seen, period. Funny thing is, it ain't complete yet. Out of 666 forms, we only got to use 7 of them. They were more than enough to break this entire game in half as Dante. If you thought DMC2's missile launcher was broken, wait till you get a lot of lady pulling up with Kalina Ann in Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Design-wise, it's the same exact motif as DMC3, but it's in 1080p definition. Before I get into the overpowered missile tricks, I'll touch on the one thing that it did that wasn't included in DMC3. The bayonet has actual combos now! I'm talking melee attacks! A 3-hit combo, it's the exact same one in the air. A stinger variant where she twirls around in a 360 AoE. A drop attack. You even get a back dodge followed up by throwing a few grenades at their feet. As a melee move. Huh, well that's kinda weird, but I'll let it slide. The melee options do some decent damage. The AoEs help out with some crowd control, but let's be real. That bayonet will be parked to the wayside once that rocket launcher is fully upgraded. The standard shot is powerful and all, as strong as a shot from Hatred, backing a few devils away from ladies' ass cheeks. But what if I told you there's one way to make this rocket shot the literal AVGN beat a game button? I present to you high explosive to maximum burst, charging that rocket launcher on full blast. One charge adds quite a bit to the damage output, dropping a kamikaze bomb on an entire army of enemies. The second charge up is the speeding atomic bomb wrecking everybody's shit. Then there is the third charge up, which just fucks everything into submission. It's broken beyond belief, fam. Not only does it annihilate the ever-loving shit out of everyone on legendary Dark Knight mode, it can fucking disintegrate bosses till they're nothing but ash. I mean, look at this burial. The guy I was struggling to fight as Nero, Dante, and Virgil got folded, violated, and turned into a corpse by me holding down the square button. This thing is a Devil May Cry 2 strat on steroids. To top it off, it hands away instant triple S like it's candy over at Halloween. Then we get multiple, allowing Lady to shoot a crap ton of homing missiles at your enemies, blowing them to bits and pieces. These are way more spammable than you think they are. It's a pretty damn solid crowd control tool. Hysteric makes its grand return, pulling off a crazier fireworks show than it did in DMC3. It's even a lot more spammable than it was in 3. Pretty good for killing a shit ton of them uglies, managing any hordes you so happen to be in the middle of. The grapple is still a thing. Instead of dragging him your way, you slam him down instead, like the Devil Bringer. Heading over to the long-awaited Devil May Cry 5. Handing over not one Kalina Ann, but two of them. The one you actually get in the main progression is the Kalina Ann 2 made by Nico. The OG Kalina Ann is a hidden mission 11 unlockable. It looks like how it did in the last two games. The only difference is the homing missiles ain't curved like they used to be. They're attached to the rocket launcher. Kalina Ann 2 on the other hand is a sort of a beige camo looking rocket launcher, abandoning the combat knife bayonet for a harpoon at the end of the grapple. Once you get both of these, Dante dual wields them like they're ebony and ivory. On their own, they have the same exact moveset. The standard shot here deals some alright damage. The only charge shot that you get is that high explosive. The other two tiers ain't anywhere to be seen. Don't get me wrong, it pulls off high as fuck damage, but it's not the DMC4 version, fucking over all bosses in an instant. But it can make them explode, scattering the remains everywhere. Moving over to Gunslinger, the style button gets you to pull off the multiple, shooting out a fuck ton of homing missiles, taking care of multiple demons. You wanna shoot one guy with all them homing missiles? Lock on forward and circle. That's all about it. Hey, the Hysteric made a comeback this time. It ain't as powerful as the DMC4 version. It can still be spammed, but it ain't as useful as the DMC4 one. Once you dual wield them rocket launchers, yep, DMC5 is one of those games that gets you to dual wield rocket launchers. Crazy over the top compared to other video games, but rather tame compared to DMC4's Pandora, but fucking cool nonetheless. The square button gets you to fire off missiles on a one-at-a-time basis, like using ebony and ivory. Hold down the square button, a brief cascade laser is fired off, outputting some high damage. A lot like Pandora's Vengeance in Devil May Cry 4, dealing with a shit ton of demons quickly. Switch to that Gunslinger, Dante can do two multiples, firing off a crazy fuck ton of homing missiles, demolishing every single devil on screen till they're a miserable pile of corpses on the pavement. The Hysteric does receive twins. The mini homing rockets go full ham on them fireworks if you manage to get it out in the middle of a large crowd, axing them off the battlefield. Then we got the Mega Cascade, a giant big dick energy laser melting off a gigantic amount of the legions of hell from existence, bruv. The ending animation gets a fuck ton of them pests out of your face. DMC5's Kalina Anns are a fuck ton of fun to play with. On the other hand, they're not as overpowered as Pandora or Lady's Kalina Ann in 4AC, but that's perfectly fine, because you got the world-ending hat of hee-hee, so they had to keep it balanced. Now for the grand stand of crowning the World Bazooka Championship title. Time to usher in this top 6! In the number 6 spot is Devil May Cry's grenade gun. Not because it's bad or anything, it's pretty fun to use. It doesn't exactly have much in the way of moves. You can only shoot straight using it. Sure, it does pull off some high damage, but you can't exactly try to do anything stylish with it. In the number 5 spot is Devil May Cry 2's missile launcher. It's way more powerful than DMC1's grenade gun, but the same issue lies. The only thing you can do is shoot straight, melt off health bars, and that's all she wrote. The number 4 spot goes to Devil May Cry 3's Kalina Ann, where the tricks started kicking in, dealing fuck off damage while using the rocket launcher more creatively than the other two. I'm actually digging this one. In the number 3 spot is Devil May Cry 5's Duel Kalina Ann. A fuck ton of fun to use, yes, but it's weaker than what's coming next on this list. It has been nerfed because of the hat. However, moveset wise, you do have some pretty creative shit to play around with, and I'm talking about both of them. Number 2 on this here list is Lady's Kalina Ann from Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. The thing is ridiculously overpowered. You thought DMC2's missile launcher was a game breaker. Kalina Ann destroys the whole game. It's broken beyond all belief, wrecking demons and one-shotting bosses, plus the sick moves. But the next one edged it out. The winner of the World Bazooka Championship title, Devil May Cry 4's Pandora! Why did I put it over the others? Even though the Kalina Ann from the same game has high as fuck damage output, I picked this one because of how absolutely bonkers this thing can be, pulling off tricks that can absolutely fuck everything over. Not only that, it's practically many firearms into one. With that out of the way, we come to the end of this video. What were your guys' thoughts on it? And which rocket launcher deserves to win the World Bazooka Championship title? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Real Impact style. At 10,000 subscribers, I'll pull off a whole ass Dante combo in real life. Full cosplay included. I even got the right tools for the job. Shoot the bell icon with an ebony and ivory bullet to get notified on whenever I drop a brand new Devil May Cry or other action game video. This has been the Devil Joe signing out.
Alright, you wanna play? Let's play. That's enough!